When did you trust the completely wrong person? When my father helped me through my testimony that put my mom in prison, I thought he'd saved me from the worst thing I'd ever experienced. But in reality, my nightmare had just begun. It all started when I was 8 years old. During my parents' vicious divorce, he sat me down with anatomical dolls the night before court and said he was going to help me remember things I'd forgotten. When I said nothing bad happened with Mom, he looked so disappointed. Sometimes our minds protect us by forgetting scary things, he said gently. But I need you to be brave. He spent hours asking careful questions until I could picture it clearly. Mom's hands lingering too long during baths, the way she'd make me promise not to tell, how uncomfortable it made me feel. By morning, the memories felt completely real. Dad held my hand in court while I testified, squeezing it when I got scared. Mom screamed that he'd coached me, but her wild accusations just made her look guilty. She got 8 years and he got full custody and became my hero. We were building a pillow fort in my room when the call came 2 years later. Dad's face went white as he listened, then he hung up and pulled me into his arms. Your mom, she died, he whispered. In prison, she hurt herself. He explained that she'd left a note saying, I'm sorry, over and over, that guilty people sometimes can't live with what they've done. I felt relief mixed with something else I couldn't name. The woman who'd violated me was gone, but she was still my mother. Dad held me while I cried, promising me it was okay for me to have complicated feelings and we'd get through this together. He spent thousands on therapy to help me process the trauma, and I joined survivor support groups, wrote essays about overcoming childhood trauma, and became an advocate for other victims. My mother's crime was my identity. Dad drove me to every therapy appointment, every speaking engagement, every support group meeting. He was the perfect father to a broken kid. Then one night when I was 16, everything changed. I'd been out with a friend but came home early, and my dad was home hanging out with my uncle. I heard them laughing in the garage as I approached, and then the words that made my heart stop. 8 years and the kid still believes his mom diddled him, Dad was slurring. The stupid SLot killed herself over something that never even happened. Somehow I managed to get my phone out and start recording him. He said, I trained him so well he'd pass a polygraph, he bragged. Guards found her hanging with his school photo in her hand. Stupid bitch died thinking her own kid hated her for something she never did. And the beauty is, he'll go to his grave believing she was a pedophile. I recorded it all with shaking hands while my father described my mother's death like a victory. I found her grave the next day, just a number in a field where they bury sex offenders whose families won't claim them. No name, no flowers, no evidence she'd ever been loved. I collapsed on that unmarked plot, sobbing apologies to the mother I'd helped convict. She'd been rotting in this grave for 6 years while I told rooms full of actual survivors that my mother had been a monster and I knew what they'd suffered. In reality, the only monster had been my father. I went to a friend's dad, a lawyer, and asked him what my options were. He said that if I came forward with a recording and told the truth now, I'd be charged with perjury and face serious prison time. So I tried confronting Dad with the recording, begging him to confess publicly so I could clear her name without going to prison. He listened to the whole thing, then smiled. Why the hell would I go to prison to clear that bitch's name? You want it so badly? You go get locked up. He rolled his eyes. Go ahead. Tell the world you lied about your dead mother molesting you. Tell all those survivors you've been speaking to that you made it up. They'll lock you up for perjury and still think she did it. I made sure of that. He was right. Who would buy that? The teenage boy who'd spent 8 years in therapy, attended support groups, and advocated for other victims wasn't legit. You know what the real beauty is? He continued. Even if you prove I coached you, even if they do believe you, you're the one who testified. You killed her, not me. There was no way out, and he wasn't even done trapping me. He called my therapist reporting I was having false memories and needed immediate intervention. He told my school counselor I was experiencing a psychological crisis from the trauma of my childhood. He contacted the survivor groups I belonged to, warning them I might show up with dangerous delusions that could trigger other victims. He showed me videos from my childhood he'd edited to look incriminating, plus 8 years of documentation proving I'd lived as an abuse survivor. Try to clear her name and I'll release these, he said casually. Everyone will think you're having a breakdown. They'll lock you up and she'll still be remembered as a pedo who killed herself rather than face justice. That night he made dinner like nothing had happened while I sat across from him, knowing my mother had died believing I hated her. She'd spent her last moments apologizing for things she never did to the son who destroyed her with coached memories. The recording that could prove everything would only send me to prison while her real killer slept soundly down the hall. The father everyone thought had saved me from a monster he'd created with dolls and patient questions, and an 8-year-old who'd believed every word. The whole world was wrong about which of my parents was the devil, and there was nothing I could do about it. Full story on the channel below.